Hello YouTube, let's play some chess. Playing with the black pieces. And it's gonna be d4, d5. And we're gonna get a Queen's Gambit declined. And let's see which lines my opponent is going to play. It looks like we're gonna have a Cambridge Springs defense. Although he knows it, because this is a way to basically get out of the danger of most of these lines. I'm just gonna play the solid approach here. These lines tend to be a bit boring, but usually they're okay. And here I could actually try and trade these bishops off. Well, let's attack it first, which is always useful. And let's just go for this. There's not much in these positions. Okay, goes there, which makes sense. Right now, even though he has a lot of scope, he's not really attacking anything. And if he kicks my knight out, I can just move it back. This knight has a nice route via f6. Also defending a bit. Also getting in. He's gonna expand on this side. Yeah, minority attack makes sense. Does this make any sense? Probably not. I'm just gonna stop it like this. And he's really going for it. Yeah, let's see. Could consider going there. Would leave me with a backward pawn. It's probably fine. Because this pawn is also a backward pawn, I guess. He could take or push. Or leave it there actually, because the knight is defending. Could also go for the isolated pawn position, but I think this is just better because it opens up my rook at least. And he can't easily fight for that file because that pawn would be hanging. So that might be why he played this move. Could also trade these bishops off. Just makes things a little bit easier. So if he takes and my queen comes in, that's also helping defending this pawn. And also by moving my bishop, maybe knight e4 is an idea at some positions. So if he takes with the knight, that's a fork. Of course here I need to deal with this. Which means I might want to move my bishop somewhere. Could also go here, but then it blocks my rook. I think this is best. So that if in any case he infiltrates, at least my knights and my queen are defending the bishop. So it's probably the safest square. It's a little bit passive, but for now it's okay, I think. Yeah, my opponent would really like to get a knight here, but squares you would go from are both covered. Guess you could try and move this bishop and get a knight there. Which might be a plan for him, so knight e1. Okay, in this position drops his rook, but might be an idea for him. And also after knight e1 then he can take here with a knight, because this would no longer be a fork. Maybe he moves his rook just to do that. But I am gonna move my knight in now. no matter how he takes, I can take back with the pawn, of course. And after that, there are some ideas over here as well. Which is temporary, but still. Okay. Guess he really wants to win a pawn there. Now can I use my bishop to defend as well? Probably, because it can always drop back here. And right now I don't really need the bishop to defend this pawn anyway. So if he attacks my bishop, I can just drop back and then he has a knight on the rim. Same for g4, that just weakens his king. Of course, I'm not really threatening any discoveries. Well, maybe actually I can take his knight, because if he takes my bishop, I win a rook. So let's say I'm not threatening this. I can just take back. And then I can trade bishops as well. And then I can trade rooks, and I might win a pawn. So maybe that's what I'm threatening, but probably he can throw in something as well. Maybe there I can throw in something. Okay, you can take this. After I take the rook back, you can take this. And I'm not winning this pawn, although my other rook could get in, start pressuring some more. So yeah, he does decide to take. And now there's a question, how do I want to take back? So this looks okay. Yeah, this is quite a bad bishop anyway, so I want to take with the bishop. And if he takes, I'm gonna take with the pawn. Okay, so he takes here in between, which was one of the ideas to not lose his pawn, but it gives me control over the A file, so that's nice to see. Yeah, now after this, I guess he wins a pawn, but I'm gonna be able to attack this. He can counterattack this pawn maybe. Yeah, let's see what he wants to do. Maybe he goes for the counterattack. But still, you have to consider some checks, which probably don't do much, so probably it is fine. Or that's also a way to counterattack. But there, if he takes, I can check and win this pawn. And if you take now, I can take this rook with check. If you take, you lose your knight. You're basically gonna have to trade rooks first if you want to win this pawn. There I can win this pawn, I feel like. I could also try and play for this, which is a passed pawn. Although he's gonna try to win my knight here maybe. But let's say this happens. I push again. Check. Takes my knight. I push again. Yeah, you're not gonna stop that pawn. Are you checkmating me? I don't think so. Well, maybe actually, yeah, check there. So that's the thing. So I'll go here. Maybe I can go here, so that after this I can just move my king. Also just this. Okay, let's calculate. Here, here, here. Check. You take my knight. And you're actually threatening checkmate, so that's annoying. So here. Gonna just move, sack my knight, and then go here. It leads to the same thing. Guess I can move my pawn up to not get mated immediately. But probably it leads to some kind of checkmate eventually. If I take here, you can still go for this, which is annoying. So maybe this is just best, although takes. But I guess there I'm gonna go for the pawn. Could also move here. And then here maybe. That might be better. This check doesn't really scare me in this position. Could also go aggressive. Let's say I go here. He goes for the knight check. That's not too scary. He goes for this. Then brings the knight in to threaten this checkmate again. Yeah, that's not what I want. I'm probably gonna have to go for this. Though, let's say I go here, he pushes. I could go back, covering this square in the end, and I'm just gonna push. Although right now that square is covered actually, so this might not have been the best idea. I think I'm gonna have to go for this, but it's probably losing if he finds this. There at least I can push my pawn and after this check, move my king up. And then this check I can block with my knight. Which might hold on. Yeah, right now he can't kick my knight out because I'm attacking his queen as well. Okay, you can also go for this, and then after I play h5, just pick up my pawn. There at the very least I pick up his pawn, and his king looks a little bit weak there as well. Okay, so that's interesting. Maybe I can attack this now. He's gonna push. There I can move my knight back. Again, this check doesn't really scare me. Does defend the pawn, so might be something you might want to try. So he's going for my pawn like that. Makes sense. But I can take here now. Let's go for that. Also attacking this. And his king is a bit weak. There's some checks he needs to consider now. Let's say I just block. Usually you don't want to move these pawns, but in this case I think it's okay. Can also move my king back. I think blocking here is okay actually. And this might be a problem for him. We might want to push, but then I don't know, it still looks scary. I don't really see a way to get through, but okay, interesting. So he's saying if I push, he goes there, which makes sense. And he's defending against this. Can I go for something like this? Not really. I could try and push. Go for these ideas, maybe. Let's try and go for that. Of course he's gonna try and make a queen, but I'm having some threats of my own. Of course he can always push this pawn, so that's probably what he's gonna do. But and if he pushes that pawn, then this check becomes a thing. So maybe I'm holding on here. Of course, holding on is not really what I wanted. I want to win, but sometimes you have to realize that that might not be the result to go for. Yeah, this at the very least threatens a repetition. Now I can go here and maybe win the knight. Though I guess the queen defends, that doesn't win a knight. There I can just take. So this does win material. I guess he's just pushing. So I'm gonna have to give up my knight. Yeah, I didn't have much time to calculate, but I think this line is still alright for me. Because I'm seeing probably a repetition at least. Over there. Yeah, so he really has to go for this, I feel like, and then I think repetition is best, although I can take this pawn and try and push. Yeah, he's attacking this as well, so it doesn't make any sense. He's trying to stop the repetition. Now I can go here, I think. Even if he takes the knight, that just leads to a repetition. Maybe there was something better, but I don't have much time, so I'm gonna have to go for this. And considering the time situation, this is not a bad result. Okay, I don't know why he's prolonging it. Okay, let's go to the game review. Might have been something better at some point. But a draw isn't the worst result. Yeah, my opponent was a little bit more accurate. Not much. And I could see from the graph that I was winning at some point, so let's see. Yeah, and I just don't really like these lines, like it's all book moves, but it's... Let's see what the engine says here. 94 already. Apparently is an idea. Let's say he takes. Yeah, that's just a kind of a fork. Which is funny because you think, okay, he can just take. But there you lose a piece. And if you take here first and I take back, my queen is defending, so it is a fork. So I need to remember that. 94 in these positions is quite good. And here I'm just slightly worse. I underestimated this minority attack a bit. Let's say what the engine says here actually. Just trading bishops. Okay, and let's say he just goes for the minority attack. What do I do there? 8 takes. And then just develop my knight and say, okay, isolated pawn like this is maybe a little bit better than what happened in the game. Makes sense. So let's continue to the game. Although this is still just slightly better for white. Yeah, and here this move just didn't really do much. Apparently he can take with the knight, which is interesting to me. So what does he do here? Rook takes. Ah, of course. That's an idea he played in the game as well, to just win this pawn. Yeah, I missed that. So maybe therefore I should have taken first if I wanted this idea, but then I give up the file. So here he does basically the same thing, and oh, here I can actually take the queen. Why didn't I take the queen? Yeah, that's just... Of course he gets 2 rooks for the queen, but I get an exchange as well. And then this pawn, and I have a passed pawn. Yeah, you just don't expect them to hang that queen, and yeah, now he's better. So again, getting a draw out of this was quite a good result. Here white is just a lot better. Yeah, and here I realized that probably this was his plan. Yeah, he didn't play it in the game, but this is actually forced checkmate in 9 here. I would have pushed h5, which is the best move. And apparently h4 even. I would think he would go here. Okay, after this, I was trying to go for this, and here I need to defend my knight still. And here I can just move back and forth. What is he gonna do? And an e4. Yeah, and he's just gonna push. And I can't really take. I think because he can win my queen somehow. Oh yeah, you can take here as well. Yeah, it's... Yeah, and even in this position you can take here. So that's something I was scared of, but I didn't really see a way to stop that anyway. And I was just trying to create some counterplay, which ended up working out. Yeah, here already it's equal again. After this, it is all zeros. And he allowed me to win his knight. It kind of forced me to give up my knight. The engine says knight takes e4 here. Yeah, that makes sense. He can get a queen, but then he loses his other queen like that. Which is probably what I should have tried. But I didn't have much time, so I just went for this. And then here, yeah, I am winning. I was sensing that there was something here. So queen b1 check. King h2. And then queen b8 check. Yeah, of course. And then after the king moves, I can take the queen and I'm stopping him from promoting. But that's tough to find with so little time on the clock, so I just went for this draw, which I was happy with. So yeah, quite an alright game. Let me know what you think. Like and subscribe if you want more of this. Maybe become a member, and I'll see you next time. Thank you for watching. Bye bye.